The cell's iron was cold, but Ip Man's hands were not. He sat with his fingers resting on his knees. He wasn't moving, just sitting. In Hong Kong's darkest prison, in the middle of winter 1952, at 4 in the morning, no one was sleeping, because everyone was watching him. 3 days earlier, there had been a misunderstanding, not a street fight, wrong identity. When the police came, Ip Man didn't resist. He just bowed his head and walked with them. His students wanted to protest, but he quietly raised his hand. "Wait," he said. "Everything will be fine." But prison wasn't fine. Prison didn't wait. Prison tested. The first night was silent. The second night was more silent. The third night, the guard came. His name was Wong, a former boxer. His hands were bigger than bread paddles. The corridor trembled when he walked. In his 50s, with hard eyes, his face carried the marks of 40 years of street and bar fights. The prison kept him for the monsters because he could speak to them. He knew their language, the language of violence. Wong stood in front of the cell. Even the sound of the key was mature, heavy, resigned to its fate. The door opened. He entered. "So you're Ip Man," he said. His voice was low but clear. "Wing Chun master." Ip Man lifted his head. His eyes weren't tired. They were calm. "Yes," he said. Wong crossed his arms. "You have a lot of students outside. They're defending you, saying you're someone important." Ip Man didn't answer. "This isn't like outside," Wong said. "This is my world. Kung Fu doesn't work here. Here there's only survival, and survivors are the strong ones." Silence again. Wong leaned forward. "Tomorrow morning we're putting you in the general ward. There are 20 men there. Killers, thieves, madmen, all stronger than you, all hungry, and all of them will want to test the new guy." Nothing changed on Ip Man's face. "My advice," Wong said, "keep your head down, stay quiet, and never make eye contact with anyone. This isn't your dojo. There's no respect here, only power." Ip Man slowly stood up. He was shorter than Wong, but his posture wasn't. "Thank you," he said. His voice carried no arrogance, just respect. "Living," Wong frowned. "Living. Tomorrow morning we'll see how Kung Fu helps you." And he left. When morning came, the ward was awake. 20 men, 20 pairs of eyes, 20 hungers. When Ip Man entered, conversation stopped, movement stopped, even breath stopped. He walked to the center, slowly, without hurry. He sat in a corner, crossed his legs, and closed his eyes. The first day, nothing happened. The second day, a prisoner approached, young, muscular, his eyes filled with rage. "Hey," he said, "I'm talking to you." Ip Man opened his eyes. "This isn't your meditation hall. Stand up and show respect." Everyone in the ward was watching. Guard Wong was also watching from afar. His hands were on his baton. Ip Man slowly stood up. He looked at the young man. "I did not disrespect you," he said. "You didn't even look at me," he puffed out his chest. "I'm the third man here. When you look at me, you bow your head." Silence. Then Ip Man bowed his head, slightly, like a boxing salute. The young man was surprised. He had expected a fight, expected anger, but respect. He hadn't expected respect. "Okay," he said. He stepped back. "Okay." On the third day, their leader came. His name was Scar. A straight scar on his face ran from his neckline to his chest. He'd been inside for 10 years. He feared nothing because he had nothing to lose. "I want to see the new guy," he said. Ip Man was sitting in his corner again. Scar came over, squatted. "I heard about you," he said. "You're famous outside, a master or something." Ip Man didn't answer. "There are no masters here, only survivors, and if you want to survive, you'll belong to me. Understand? Ip Man raised his head. His eyes were calm, but clear. I belong to no one, but I respect everyone. Scar laughed, but his laugh was cold. Respect means nothing here. He slapped Ip Man's shoulder with his hand, hard. Power means everything. And he pushed. Ip Man didn't move. He didn't fall back, didn't fall. He just stood there, as if the wind had pushed him and he had rooted against the wind. Scar's face changed. "What did you do?" he said. "Nothing," Ip Man said. "I pushed you again. Why didn't you move?" "Because I didn't need to."
Scar stood up. Now he was angry. Everyone in the ward had stood up. Wong had also approached, his hand on his baton. "Show me your Wing Chun," Scar said. "Come on, show me how strong you are." Ip Man slowly stood up. "Wing Chun is not a display of power," he said. "Then what is it?" "Balance." Scar lunged forward. His punch was fast, angry, filled with 10 years of prison fights, and it was coming toward Ip Man's face. Then it stopped. Or rather, its direction changed. Ip Man's hand touched Scar's wrist. Just touched, didn't push, didn't pull, just was there. And the punch, like a river current, slid to the side. Scar's balance broke. He fell forward. Ip Man took one step back. Scar fell to the ground. The ward was silent. Scar got up. His face was red. He attacked again. This time 2 punches, then a kick. All fast, all angry, all deadly. And all went into emptiness. Ip Man moved like dancing, but a slow dance, like water. He saw every attack, responded to every attack, but never counterattacked. He just wasn't there. And then he was, and Scar's balance was broken again. On the 3rd fall, Scar stayed on the ground. He was breathless. "How are you doing this?" Ip Man bent down, extended his hand. "Get up," he said. Scar looked at him, wondered if the hand was a trap. But there was no trap in those eyes, just kindness. He slowly took his hand. Ip Man lifted him up. "Power always finds greater power," Ip Man said. "But balance transforms power. In Wing Chun, we use the enemy's power against him. We don't fight against it." Scar wiped his forehead. "You really are different." 3 days later, Ip Man was released. The wrong identity had been proven. Outside, hundreds of his students were waiting. But inside, guard Wong was also waiting. As Ip Man was leaving, Wong handed him something. It was a small piece of paper. "What's this?" Ip Man said. "My address," Wong said. His voice was different, softer. I want to learn Kung Fu, your Kung Fu." Ip Man looked at him. Wong's eyes were no longer hard. They were open, and there was something in them. Curiosity, respect, perhaps hope. "Why?" Ip Man said. Wong took a deep breath. "Because what I saw in that ward wasn't power. It was control. And all my life I've used power. But control is something more powerful. I want to learn that." Ip Man took the paper, put it in his pocket. "Sunday mornings, 6 o'clock, come to my dojo." Wong bowed his head, a deep, respectful bow, and Ip Man walked. Outside was bright, cold, free. His students surrounded him, asked questions, worried, but Ip Man just smiled. "Everything is fine," he said, because prison had reminded him of something. Kung Fu wasn't just for fighting, it was for surviving, for teaching, and sometimes even in the darkest places, light could be found. 3 months later, Wong came every Sunday morning, a former guard, now a humble student. He remembered how his hands trembled in the first lesson. He remembered how Ip Man smiled in the second lesson. And in the third lesson, for the first time in his life, he remembered understanding that power without control was nothing. Years later, Wong opened his own school. He always told his students the same story, the prison story, the story of an angry man who attacked a master, and the master taught him not fighting, but balance. And every time he told it, he would add, "Ip Man didn't defeat me. He taught me to defeat myself." And that was something more powerful. What came out of that ward wasn't just a man. A lesson came out. Power is temporary. Control is eternal. And true masters are remembered not by fighting, but by teaching.
If you're still here, it means you didn't just watch a video. It means you tried to understand a life story. It means you were curious about what discipline, patience, and quiet strength really mean. Ip Man's life is not a story of showmanship, but of character. Not the story of those who shout to prove their strength, but of those who can control it. He was never the loudest voice in the room, but he spoke through his presence. He won without belittling his opponent, and even when he lost, he never lost his honor. Maybe that's exactly what made him special. Ip Man taught us this. True strength is not defeating others. True strength is being able to defeat yourself. Controlling anger, silencing the ego, remaining righteous even in difficult times, that is mastery. All of us struggle in life in one way or another. Sometimes we are treated unfairly. Sometimes we are underestimated. Sometimes we are forced to stay silent. But Ip Man's path tells us this. Silence is not weakness. Patience is not passivity. And humility is never powerlessness. That is exactly why I built this channel. Here, I don't just talk about martial arts or famous names. I talk about life lessons. I talk about the true meaning of discipline, morality, and inner strength. Now let me share a small but important truth. A large portion of people who watch videos like this until the end don't subscribe because they say, "I'll do it later." But most of the time, that later never comes. So when I ask you, I want to say this. If this video added something to your life, if you saw a piece of yourself in Ip Man's composure, if your perspective on strength changed even slightly, then this channel is all ready for you. Subscribing is not doing me a favor. It's a small promise you make to yourself to not miss stories that help you grow. Here, I will continue to share quiet strength, real discipline, and meaningful life stories. Before you leave, take just 1 second, subscribe, and let's continue this journey together. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.